there, it is Sophia the therapist, and today is week 8, day 7 of my 9-week challenge. One more week left. It's been good. Got me to a place where I believe God wants me to be. And today I want to talk about accountability and consequences. You know, as a kid, I think anybody who got in trouble and had immediate consequences like I did, we learned some stuff. Now, it might not have been exactly the lesson your parents or teachers were trying to teach you, but we learned stuff. Like, one time I was in school and my teacher was being nosy and looking out of the window, and as she was looking out of the window, she was walking toward the window and tripped over the garbage can. She didn't fall, but she tripped and, stumbled. And I laughed. And I got immediate consequences. She called me to the front. And, it was funny to me because I was her favorite, or one of her favorite students. And she gave me a spanking. Back then, teachers could paddle you. She patted me in my hand for laughing at her. Now, that ain't right. That ain't right. But what did you learn? What was the lesson? For your actions, you will be accountable, and there will be immediate consequences. So if she ever had tripped over a garbage can again, of course, I would have stifled my laugh. I would not have laughed out loud. But, as adults, we kind of need consequences too, but a lot of times we don't have them because we're grown. And a lot of the times, consequences are the only teacher that we have. So, for example, if I drive fast in a speeding a zone that has a lower speed limit, and I get clocked by the police and pulled over, the consequences are a ticket, unless I'm able to talk him out of it. And in that case, I still learn the lesson because I know I may not be so lucky next time, so I will watch my speed in this particular area. Now, I have received tickets, and I was really angry about being pulled over, but I knew I was doing something wrong. So it makes you think the second time it comes up. It makes you stop for a moment and think. Now, sometimes we get consequences for things that we did, but they weren't necessarily a wrong thing to do. Right? Like you might get in trouble. Well, grown people don't really get in trouble. We might be called out for standing up and speaking out against an injustice. And for that, you might be arrested, put in jail. Now, that's a consequence for something that needed to be done. And I think when we stand up for right, then we are willing to accept the consequences. But consequences are a great teacher. And I think we have to be more intentional as adults about making sure that we don't spare people consequences because we don't want them to be hurt, or we don't want them to be sad, or we don't want them to go through any inconvenience, because you're trying to spare them from experiencing the consequences of their actions. And that really only hurts them because it just delays the consequence. It doesn't correct anything. It just prolongs the time that they'll be moving in these erroneous type and doing erroneous, harmful, hurtful behavior. For example, I had a friend who drank a lot. Yeah, he drank a lot. And, it's hard, like I said, it's hard to give adults consequences. So he moved back with his parents, and they couldn't stop him. So there weren't really no consequences for his actions. So what could they have done? They could have put him out, but that's their kid, so they're not going to put him out. They could have insisted that he get help, but he's a grown man. You can't make him do nothing. So what else do you have? What consequences are there? You just have to let them come naturally. So when he goes out and drinks and gets arrested for disorderly conduct or gets a DUI, you got to let him sit in jail for a while. You got to let people feel the consequences. Otherwise, how can you expect the behavior to change? It's biblical. I don't need to quote it for you. You shall sow whatever you reap, you shall sow. No, whatever you sow, you will reap. That's all you need to know. You can probably think of more Bible verses about it than I can. But it's important that we let people experience consequences. And it's tough love, but sometimes tough love is the best love. All right. That's Sister Sophia, also known as Sophia the Therapist. And I'll see you next time, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.